Good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, November 10th, 2025. I've got 7:20, so we will go ahead and call this meeting of the Committee of the Whole to order. I appreciate everyone's patience as we wrapped up our executive session. We will get started this evening with items from the Department of Economic Development. We have coming back for further discussion the development agreement with Connect Realty and Benson Capital and the CIC. No formal presentation from the administration this evening is my understanding, so this is back for any further questions, comments, concerns. I will open it up to my colleagues at this point. Otherwise, I will note that in terms of process, this item is slated for an up or down vote next Monday, the 17th. Anything from my colleagues? Mrs. Bowers.
Yes, thank you. I think the only outstanding question that I had was related to the use of the parcels. I think this is identified in 12.4.9. And I suppose I would just request that the city attorney just sort of summarize where we are with that paragraph.
Yes, thank you. So the last red line, and there was a red line copy of the exact changes as well as a clean version of everything, did identify the phase 2 parcels that would be usable for staging if and when demolished, and does identify that the particular property of potential historical value is identified as only being usable after the city is given at least 180 days advance written notice of an intent to utilize that parcel so that the city can make arrangements, if it so chooses, to preserve or move any structures on that property.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Anything else for my colleagues? All right. Well, seeing none, as noted, this is slated for the regular agenda next week. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Moving right along then. We have items from the Department of Public Service. Good evening, Director.
Hey, good evening. So I have 2 items to present this evening on behalf of the Department of Public Service. The first item is our updated fees for our EV charging stations. Quick overview, just to kind of educate, inform, and catch up everyone so they know, those listening as well, about our charging stations here in the city. So we do have 6 locations for our charging stations. We have level 2s that are at City Hall, Friendship Park, Hanna Park, and the Municipal Golf Course. And then we do have fast chargers at Creekside Parking Garage and the Municipal Lot. In the 25 budget, we did have an allocation for us to upgrade those to get them into better working order. All of that has been completed. If you recall, in May, I was here to adjust the rate structure to better fit a cost recovery model that we had. Previously, it was hourly based. Now it's more of a consumption based per kilowatt. It's been about 6 months or so. We do know that our rates for electric for the city accounts is going up. That was what we brought previously, as we are switching over to 100% renewable for all city accounts. That rate is anticipated to go up between December 1st and December 6th. With the transition to the new software, we are able to have better analytics for a lot of the data that we're collecting, which can help us understand the usage of the kilowatts, timing, days, things like that. We can look at different trends of what the users can provide to us. And another caveat is a sustainability approach is there are the CO2 emission reductions, so we can start gathering data that helps us with some of our climate action strategy that we're working towards as well. So pretty simple. What I'm requesting, by ordinance, I have to request a resolution to update the fee structure. And again, I would like this to take effect December 8th. Again, our accounts will be transitioning to 100% renewable between the 1st and the 6th. So this is that Monday after the accounts transfer. Level 2 stations going up 2 cents per kilowatt. Fast chargers going up 1 cent per kilowatt. We did do another look at the 43230 area code to make sure that we stay competitive with the charging services. It's a wide range of things. Some offer for free just to get people to go there. We are not offering for free. We are doing a cost recovery to ensure that not only is the electric recovered, but any over that then offsets as much of the cost for software and hardware as we can for utilization. The other caveat is also, as presented in May, we were going to look at capturing an idle fee. The cost to implement that piece of the software is not cost effective for us to do so. Doesn't mean anything's going to change when it comes to anything with the laws governing them for idle time, which, subject to misdemeanors and things like that. But we will not be activating the idle recovery module. It's just not cost feasible for us to do so. Any questions on EV charging rate structure?
Thank you, Director. Any discussion of this item? I see Mr. Schnetzer and then Mrs. McGregor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Director. Just a clarifying question.
Yep.
What is an idle fee? Like, how does that work?
The idle fee is we had it structured so if they were going to be sitting on a charger for, I think we had it at 10 minutes idle with, like they're done charging.
Okay.
They would start to incur a fee the longer they sat there.
Okay.
Yep.
Mrs. McGregor.
I've asked this before, not for a long time, and never were able to get it, but could we see some figures on like how much these are used?
Yep. So and that's part of the software where we're able to gather in that trend. So again, we went online like the first week of May with the level 2s. And the last fast charger in the Creekside Garage went live about a month ago. I don't have a lot of data yet, but we're starting to build that data portfolio to show what is the usage.
Okay.
Yeah. Our biggest user are going to be right now is the City Hall chargers and the municipal parking lot because it is a fast charger. It's the fastest charger we have. So it gets a little more use than some of the other level 2s.
Okay.
Level 2s they're slow. They're 6 to 8 hour charge time as opposed to 30 minutes to an hour, hour and a half.
So we don't have any idea how much they were used before this?
With the old software, it was harder to track, but I would say minimal usage. The City Hall lot, again, was the most utilized just because we have staff that are using them.
Right.
We did have quite a few that were offline, and that's why we upgraded the software and the hardware as well.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. McGregor. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, so this one is a resolution, so folks good with consent for next week on this one?
Yes.
All right, and just a moment of personal privilege. Thank you, Director, for your service. I know we have a couple other veterans in the room as well, so thank you all for your service in advance of Veterans Day tomorrow, so.
Thank you.
Next item, please, Director.
Yep, so the next item, I'm here back to report annually. We look at our recommended adjustments for our utility rates. There is a quick adjustment. I didn't catch it till about 4 o'clock today. I did check in with Clerk Van Meter. On the summary that was provided, the first sentence indicated Gahanna's recommended rate changes, not the City of Columbus. I was trying to spell out the City of Columbus's, and we put in the wrong rate change there. It is attached as a revised summary to the agenda. All right, so again, annually, I think this is the third year that I've been blessed to report our requested utility rate changes. What I wanted to do is continue to provide it's going to be a little bit more information than usual, just because this is a little bit more complex this year, based upon the rates that are being proposed at Columbus, right? So utilizing this to educate and inform as well. Just to recap, we are a master meter community. We are similar to Bexley and Reynoldsburg. There's only a few of us in Central Ohio that are master meter communities. What that means is we have 10 meters between us and Columbus, and a consumption base of what goes through that meter is what the city of Columbus is going to be billing us for when it comes to water, which then translates into sanitary. There are things that are not consumption-based, like our CCO, which we'll kind of dig into that a little bit as well. These are utility accounts. Refuge aside, our utility accounts are enterprise funds. So they are established to be like a private business. They are to be self-sustaining, to collect enough fees to offset the expenditures for those. Our operational charges, water and sanitary, about 80% of everything we collect for those operations goes straight to the city of Columbus. So around $20 million in collections, they will get over $16 million of that. Capital charges stays within the city of Gahanna. We maintain our distribution system here. So anything collected on capital goes towards our capital projects. Stormwater, we collect the operation and capital here in Gahanna. The Columbus consent order, or the CCO, or the clean river fees, as you'll see it on the bill, that is a 100% pass-through to the city of Columbus. We are not collecting anything over on that. They let us know what the ERU charge is going to be, and we know what the amount is going to be, and so then we have to apply it to our invoices or the bills. Just a quick reminder as well with our utility systems, as I mentioned, that we manage our distribution systems. This is from page 17 of the approved CIP Section 5. This is kind of just a snapshot of it to remind everybody that we do have projected in that CIP a large number of actionable capital utility-related projects in the pipe. If you want to know more on the individual projects on there, Section 10 of the CIP goes into more detail on that. Key points to our proposed rate changes here. Sanitary operations, Columbus has come out at their, the SWAB, which is their Sewer Water Advisory Board, and they are pushing a proposed rate of an 8% increase as it relates to sanitary operations. This is higher than what we have been anticipating or that we've been expecting by a couple percent. Our proposal, working with what we would need in order to, pay the bill that's coming along with maintain our operations, would be a 6% proposal. So less than the Columbus, for the Columbus piece, but still a little bit higher than what we've been trending for sanitary overall. Sanitary capital is a 4% increase. Again, a lot of this is maintaining with the inflationary amounts that it is for running capital projects. This is not going to solve our future outlook at this rate for what the anticipated need is going to be. So that'll have to be continued conversations as we're looking at these large projects that go beyond what's already in the CIP. The water operations rate, again, Columbus has came out with a much higher rate. They had been talking for the last few years of a peak of 15%. They came back at an 18%, which kind of goes past the peak that they were hoping for. They're looking at this type of spike, according to their SWAB presentation. This reduces a potential 35% increase. They're trying to level it out for what they need for their costs that are associated with their operations. And then our water capital rate would be a 4% increase, again, maintaining an inflationary cost for this. Stormwater, we are anticipating or recommending a 1% increase in 2026 for the city stormwater. That's operation and capital. It's just a 1% increase. The Columbus consent order, this is probably the most, the 18% for water jumps out, but for the Columbus consent, they have notified that they're recommending a $4.39 per ERU pass-through. So what this means is we are anticipating, scattered over 4 quarters, a $1.7 million bill related to the Columbus consent order through there as well. So As you know, last year, we did work to revise our ERU count because Columbus has a determination of how ERUs are determined. We were much lower than that, so we were charging more than what per residential unit than we needed to, or equivalent residential unit. So when we went and we reconciled to match what Columbus was billing for ERUs, it did create a little bit of a spike for those who had a lower ERU count previously. What this does, we're continuing to reconcile that because we need to hit this on the head for our collection versus what is due. Again, this is a 100% pass-through. So we are working with our GIS team to make sure we're reconciling Columbus's number of ERU count for Gahanna versus our ERU count for Gahanna to make sure that it matches, to make sure that everything's working together on this. If we wouldn't have done what we did last year, which I know in some realms wasn't a popular decision, this number would have been north of $6. So it is a more equitable distribution based on what Columbus is billing us. And then the last piece here, no rate increases for our refuse or garbage collections in '26. But I do want to let everybody on notice that 27, I would anticipate. We are to receive the first round or the first bids for the recycling portion of the 27 through 31 agreement later this week. So that kind of kicks off the process of then the actual the collections for refuge vendor will then happen after we know who the recycling piece is. So all of that is going to be playing out in the beginning of '26. We should know by mid-26 where our refuse collection is going for '27. And all of that will come back to council once we get to that point. We are doing that through this Waco consortium. All right, so what does all this mean overall for Gahanna's proposed adjustments? Overall, when we take all of our utilities and we kind of spread it out, we're looking at about a 6.14% increase. We have historically really tried to keep this below a 4 or 5% increase, working through the revenue and expense projections, again, being aggressive with expenditures, conservative with revenue. This would be the recommendation of where we would need to hit. What that means, minimum impact or a minimum bill would be about $2.41 per month for those minimum bills. The average, I had them rerun it again. We are still trending around 4,000 gallons for an average household in Gahanna. And that would be a $7.46 per month increase for that. And again, regional competitiveness, this isn't anything that's unique to Gahanna. As you may remember last year when I was here, one of the last things I said is the cost of water and sewer is not going down. So we are continuing to explore options, but it is still trending up, especially when our biggest bucket, 80%, is out of our control. Now, part of the expansion of the Columbus program, they are proposing, if you recall last year, they increased the low-income discount to 25%, expanded eligibility from 200% FPL to 150% FPL. What is being proposed is to increase that for '26 to a 30% discount, with the proposal for 35% in '27 and capping at a 40% low-income discount, senior discount by '28. So
Still at the 150, 150% of the
that is
federal
what is
poverty
being
line?
proposed as of right now. What we will do is continue to monitor what we're eligible because we have to ensure Columbus accepts our eligibility for that. So that is kind of, I would say, the light at the end of the tunnel for those. We have a lot of households that have, that do have a minimum bill and or utilizing that low-income discount as well as have a low the minimum bill as well. We have a large bucket of those residents. So what I want to do is kind of finalize with some important things to know going forward, right? Consumption. what we do is consumption-based. The majority of what our residents hit is consumption-based. Less water use reduces your water bill, reduces your sanitary impact as well, unless you have deduction meters, which those are usually on some of our bigger users, not a standard household. We will be working with 26, as I spoke with the mayor as well, on a water conservation awareness strategy to ensure that residents are being made more aware of ways they can conserve water. But I will point out as well, a leaky toilet is way more costly than you think. So continue to check everything you can because it adds up very, very quickly. The 5-year outlook from Columbus is not looking good. We're looking at potential double-digit increases for water going at least for the next 5 years out. We will be coming back. They are also proposing sanitary capacity fees, which does affect us. Theirs are to take effect in April of '26, so we want to look at their proposed fees related to that. What that means is when we have developments here that are tapping into sanitary, I believe it is a 2 or 4 inch line or more, the fees are going up, I would call it astronomically, but somewhere of up to 70% more of what they currently are. So when you're looking at residential units expansions that have larger sanitary lines, our fees are not going to match collections of what Columbus is going to charge. So we need to also pivot to make sure that we are recouping at a minimum what Columbus is charging us. And again, just pointed out, the garbage collection, refuse collection is anticipated an increase in '27. Based on, we're in a separate cohort that's a year behind what has previously come in. The rates are actually looking better than we would anticipate, but it doesn't mean anything until we get the bids back. But I would anticipate some type of increase. Again, we haven't had an increase since the original contract back in 22, I think it was, 20. So we've been running for 5 years on no increase to refuse. At some point, it will increase. So. All right, that was a lot of information thrown at you, but as you know, this impacts every resident, every business owner that we have. So I want to make sure as much information was out there.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. I'll open it up for discussion. I did see Mr. Schnetzer's hand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you again, Director. Yeah, a lot of information there. So I'm trying to think of the best way to ask this question. So 80% of what the city is charged is ultimately driven by what, 80% of what residents are charged is ultimately driven by what Columbus charges the city, right? So,
The operation side,
yeah, you mentioned SWAB, and maybe that's a public resource that somebody can go online and see, like their minutes or if they have any sort of exhibits for what's ultimately driving that. But logic would suggest that water that's coming to the city is passing through Columbus's infrastructure. Sewers that's leaving the city is passing through Columbus infrastructure. I know that the Hapcrimian water plant recently underwent some renovations. I think they increased the height of the dam minimum. There's probably some other things that maybe Mr. Renner knows about that I don't. I would think that some of what we call operations is ultimately there's a component of that is Columbus's capital, right? Because they're trying to maintain their capital the same way we would.
Our operational cost includes Columbus capital and operation, their debt service, all of that.
Perfect. Have they provided any of, I guess the reason why I laid out all of that is I'm wondering what is ultimately the main driver of these significant cost increases so that when we're out in the community, we can at least explain it. I'm sure some of it's chemicals, I'm sure some of it's operational, the people and the personnel, et cetera, that run the systems, but there's got to be a capital element too. And we know that at least in recent years past, capital costs have gone way up, even if they may have leveled out here in the more recent term. So any insight into that we might be able to go and find as far as like what
Yeah, so what they do put out during the SWAB meeting, which they do end up putting those agendas online, we get them the day of. We typically have somebody go in attendance to make sure that they hear the conversation along with that. But there are main drivers, chemical costs as well. There's another treatment plant that is going online. It is the maintenance and upkeep of the lines that are in addition of and expansion of service for City of Columbus as well. All of that is factored in along with a lot of things that aren't necessarily spelled out on their presentation that drive the cost up for us. Yeah. And again, we are a master meter community. By agreement, there are certain thresholds we pay above a typical City of Columbus customer as well.
Okay, thank you.
If I could add, also, I've been in conversations with the mayors of both Reynoldsburg and Bexley. We are in the process of trying to schedule a meeting with Columbus for that very question, to understand what is driving the increase for us. And we recognize that this is, at some point, and if not now, unsustainable for our residents. So having that conversation with them around what is driving the cost, opportunities for us to try to deal with that, looking at our individual agreements, is a conversation that all three of us want to have with Columbus.
Okay, thank you.
I saw Mr. Renner.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to, so first off, Corey, you did a masterful job really talking through all of this very complicated information, and also information that no one really wants to hear. So kudos to you, and thank you. Also, thank you so much for the water conservation awareness. I'm a big advocate, as you know, about looking at consumption and ways to bring it down. It also mirrors the dialogue, what we're having in the statewide and national about electricity rates. Consumption, consumption, consumption. We need to actually look at and reevaluate what we're doing for our household. The 4,000 gallons per month, and so that's an average, did you say, for residential?
Yes, yep. So what I requested from our customer service utility billing division was to take what are the average residential accounts that we have. So trying to cut out our commercial or non-residential and really focus on what is the impact. This is very similar, like myself here, family of 4, 2 kids, 2 adults, is around a 4,000 gallons. Sometimes it spikes to a 5,000, depends on when the meter flips as well. So it would be what I would call your standard or typical 2 adults, 2 child household.
Okay. It's a little high, so I can't wait for the water awareness campaign and all that kind of stuff. The other thing is, in the city of Gahanna, and I really don't think I have a good pulse on this, so who are our largest water users? Is it really just the residents, or do we have any really high-end? I mean, a car wash, but other than that?
I mean, I would have to, I know we do.
Water bottling company.
Niagara is going to be the biggest one.
Duh.
They're the one that have that, they're the only user of our 3 million gallons or more carve out.
And we have a modified rate structure that we did a few years ago for them,
We
right?
just did it this last year, yes.
Okay, are we looking at that again? And the only reason why, and I don't want to single out Niagara, but also with the statewide and national dialogue is shifting, making sure that our cost structures are not burdening the residential, right? Making sure that, hey, somebody should actually pay their fair share, right? And obviously, businesses are not paying, some businesses are not paying their fair share. Most notably, what is driving water rates up is actually that big new treatment center on Home Road, $1.6 billion. The modifications that they had to do to HAP premium are definitely driving up rates. But then the third is database. Data centers are definitely driving up our power and our water usage. And so, and that's why I'm looking at the city of Gahanna. because I know inside Columbus, they're actually talking about a sliding scale for them. We've already seen AEP do something, pass through the PUCO about data center specifically. But do we have any other high-end user that we really should be looking at?
Yeah, and we can look through account usage again. As we know, we do have a carve-out. It is in the red line along with the summary as well, an increase to that baseline as well. Essentially to recapture what those high-end users, what Columbus bills us, plus slightly more for operations. But there is a discount for the higher user, but it is an increased fee of over where they have been. We did address that last year, and there is being proposed an increase in the red line as well this year.
Okay. Well, thank you for protecting the Gahanna residents as much as you can. I mean, a 10% increase or even a overall 6% increase is far less than what some of the other entities are having to battle. So, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renner. I saw Ms. Jones.
Yeah,
then I have
and this
Bowers
may
in the
be
back.
a little bit of a dumb question, but I'm assuming we have no other option than water through City of Columbus, correct?
None that we're aware of at this
Okay,
point.
all right. I just wanted to ensure, because, usually you get prices increased, you shop around, but if there aren't options, then we don't have options. Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Jones, Ms. Bowers.
Yeah, thank you.
Ms.
This is also, I think, to increase my understanding on this subject as well. So so you mentioned that, I think Mr. Renner brought up that our costs, or maybe this was Mr. Schnetzer, but our costs include Columbus capital and operations, or we're looking into like identifying truly what kind of is going all into the costs that we're paying to Columbus, I think is part of what I understood. So my question is sort of the next step on that. The costs that we're then passing on to our residents, that encompasses our operations and capital for water infrastructure?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so on the utility notice, you'll see things that are, your water and then water capital. We
Right.
have it broken out, our utilities are broken out into 5 funds, basically. Water operations, water capital, sanitary operations, sanitary capital, and then stormwater is a combination of both. So on the bill, you will see the charges as it relates to the different funds where it ultimately ends up as well.
And so I'm trying to wrap my head around the idea that you started off by talking a little bit about how our water billing is set up as an enterprise fund and that this is intended to recoup all of the costs that the city incurs, not just with operating our water billing department, but also the infrastructure that goes into delivering water and sewer to residents. So is that a model everywhere, or are there some communities, like, I'm trying to think of some other basic need that we provide that is structured in that same way? Like, we don't do that for police or for roads. It seems like it's unique.
I believe it's required, the enterprise funds are required to be set up that way.
But is water required to be, I mean, I'm kind of at this bigger policy question is what I'm trying to understand. Is this the only way of doing it? Or other communities look at water billing differently? And maybe that's a
This is
big.
the only way that I've seen it. It doesn't necessarily, I've never seen it any other way. It's always been operated as an enterprise. I believe that there's potential legislation that requires it, but I don't want, this would be probably a Director Burry confirmation question. But because it is a consumption-based product, it's usually ran like a business, and those that use more pay more.
And I brought this up, sort of briefly last year, and I guess I just will submit it to the broader conversation again in thinking, is there a different way of thinking about this? I mean, this is a basic need that we provide. I understand that people who use more should pay more, but we don't charge this way for any other infrastructure. And so I guess I'm just thinking aloud about what can we be doing differently?
I don't have a response right now on this.
It's okay.
Based on where we are, but, you know, this is the model, I think, that is used, you know, if not everywhere, but, yeah.
Okay. And then on the ERU issue, just to sort of cover that again, so we, last year, reduced the square footage that makes up one ERU, equivalent residential unit. And that applies to a lot of things that are not single-family homes, a lot of multifamily and commercial property, et cetera. Okay, and so if, I think what I'm understanding correctly is, if I'm understanding this correctly, that by reducing the square footage of what we define as an ERU, each of those users is paying a more fair share of the costs that we are incurring from Columbus.
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and it's, as I said in there, if we hadn't done that, the average family, one ERU would have been over $6.30-some for that CCO, the Columbus consent order, instead of the $4.39. It's making it more equitable based on the impervious calculations.
And if, I think if I understood you too, that even if we went and changed that number again, and we changed the ERU to 3,000 square feet, that Columbus is still doing their own calculation on how many ERUs actually exist in Gahanna? Okay,
And that's why we are basing it to tie to Columbus's number, because that is what we are getting billed for.
so essentially, we really did need to bring it in line with what Columbus's ERU is.
We still work, as I said, we're working to get to that, you know, exact, if we can, as close to the exact ERU count, and understanding why Columbus has this, why we have this. We are very close. That's as we're working through to make sure everything is equitable, because it is a pass-through of that Clean River collection fee.
Yeah, thank you, Director Weibensinger. I think that there's been a lot of, I know for those of us who don't work in utilities, public utilities, that there's been I think a big learning curve over the last year, so I appreciate your service on this.
Thank you, Ms. Bowers. Mrs. McGregor, you've been waiting patiently.
This is more, it's not as technical, but maybe on for like 3 or 4 months, could put in the newsletter an explanation of just how the bill works? Like, I know that people, I see it on social media all the time, Gahanna rounds up, you know, and it's, you know, I've answered it over and over, I mean, many times. But it seems like if you could put an example of how the billing works, that maybe people could understand in a simple way. I don't know if there's a simple way to do that.
Actually, that's on my whiteboard, a tutorial on water bills for the new year. We actually have done that in the past, where we took a bill and we marked it up and tried with, you know, and then
Right.
posted it and tried to explain this is what this is. I actually think a short video of just walking through the water bill, and especially with the conversation that we're having right now with Columbus, I appreciate Councilman Renner, your comments to Mr. Weibensinger about the job that he did in explaining this very complex issue. But taking the information that was presented tonight and trying to relay that in a way that is consumable by our residents. A lot of them don't understand it's a pass-through to Columbus, but explaining all of those things and then how to read the bill. We actually round down, not round up, so that helps the resident, but it's things like that. So it is on our board as something that we thought we could help to do to help the residents understand.
And because I think it's, you know, people get their bill, it's like 222, and all of a sudden it's 3. And then they're like, we didn't do anything different. Well, it's just because the meter, that's the way the meter works, you know, and so it's, anyway, if you could kind of explain it very basically so people, you know, just a simple version that people can understand on that portion of it, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. McGregor. I just had one quick one that has come up a bit as related to ERUs, and How does it work when people don't necessarily receive their water bill directly from the city, but say it goes to their association and then is issued from like Guardian Water and the difference then over what the city has control, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so a lot of those are set up to where they can set up whatever structure they want of where the bill goes to. And a lot of them have it go to a third-party management company. Whatever relationship they have with how that information, whether it's funneled directly through there, is kind of dependent on how they work with their third-party provider. You know, we issue to the address that they put on file when they sign up for the bills to be sent to. For single-family homes, that's usually your doorstep. It's not always. It could be a PO box. It could be an electronic option that we have as well. It just depends on how they have it set up with their third-party provider, whether they receive a paper copy, electronic copy, and what email address do they have on file as well.
And that third-party provider could have its own set of fees that it's assessing. Yeah. Thank you for the clarification. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, this is an ordinance, so I'd, on for first on the 17th and then consent on December 1st? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll
Oh,
point out
yes.
also, there's no emergency or waiver. What we have been trying to do is bring it earlier to make sure that we have a full time. Previously, we used to try to wait closer to and work through some of Columbus's meetings, but it is intentional to try to give more time before council. We will still monitor those meetings as well. What I would prefer to do is come in with where we believe they're going to land based on the proposals. Doubtful there's going to be a lot of adjustments from their end, if any. But if we were to bring something back, I would rather bring back a cost reduction under emergency waiver than not have this conversation over multiple weeks. Okay?
Thank you for that, sir. Thank you. And thank you for the very thorough presentation. Okay, up next, we have items from the Department of Parks and Rec. Good evening, Director.
Thank you. There is a portion of, there's two pedestrian bridges that cross over the Big Walnut Creek and McKenna Creek that make up the Big Walnut Trail near Stony Brook Church. As part of the deck replace, the portions of, excuse me, the decking of both bridge structures are in need of full replacement. The planks of the bridge are showing significant signs of rot and mold growth. In some cases, there's full depth rot. We are and have made patch repairs to those locations of most concern. However, a full replacement is in need in order to truly remedy the circumstance. Due to the emergent safety need, the administration is respectfully requesting a authorization to waive the bidding process. We are and have solicited for quotes from 3 different vendors in order to accomplish the work. We do expect to have that contract understood by council next Monday. I'm happy to answer any questions in regards to this concern.
All right, thank you, Director. Any discussion of this item? Mrs. McGregor.
How old is that bridge?
There was a formal ribbon cutting in 2018.
So 7 years, that seems really short.
It is not the expected timeline of that type of structure. The type of decking was a water-based preservative, and it's failing. Because the structure is and was built with the same timber throughout both structures, that's why the need of the replacement for both is the best course of action.
So we're looking at a different type of material this time?
That's correct. Not only a different type of timber, but also a different preservative.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Schnetzer.
Well, that was my question too. I actually encountered the one over there by Stony Brook about a week ago. Saw the signs that said, watch your step. It was dark and still caught my foot on one of the patchwork. But nonetheless, that was my question was, there's the other pedestrian bridge that is down, I guess it's behind Nob Hill. obviously not as big of a structure, but I believe that one's made of some sort of like concrete or composite material. I didn't know if that's an option for this one or not.
Not for this particular bridge. It sits on a steel superstructure, so the timber flanks are what is the design for that bridge. While we can't completely redesign, we can progress with a different type of lumber. So that's the plan of action.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schnetzer. Ms. Bowers?
Thank you. How long do you anticipate the work to take, and how long will the bridge be closed?
We expect, again, that's hard to determine at this point since we don't have a contract in place, so I don't feel responsible to truly outline what that would look like. Once we do have a better consideration of that, I would feel more comfortable to explain that.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Padova?
Thank you. I am using this bridge quite frequently, parking in that lot and going over to Stony Brook, as are a lot of parents have once this progresses and the construction schedule is defined. Will you be in communication with them as well?
Most certainly. We'll work with our marketing communications team to make sure that they are aware of any type of impacts to the public and any closures. This will, of course, create a closure because of the repair, but we will make sure to communicate that effectively.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? All right, seeing none, waiver is requested, so on regular agenda for next week then. Thank you very much, Director. Appreciate it. All right, next up, we have items from the Senior Director of Operations. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, folks. I'm here to present, excuse me, an easement, fiber optic easement, telecommunications easement for 825 Tech Center Drive. We currently have one lateral into the north side of the facility. We do require a second lateral for redundancy and backup, if you would. We have worked continuously for a while now, I think since the other easement, the access easement was put in place with various property owners in and around the area, and did finally reach terms with AEP to develop a 3-foot easement for a second fiber lateral out to Morrison Road. So basically, if you were to look at the Sallyport area of 825 and follow that, the southern property line of AEP, that's the area in which this new utility easement will be placed. The cost per square foot is the same as the access easement itself that we did put into place, I think at the end of 2024. And the total cost of this particular easement is about just slightly over $2,500 to get us out to Morrison. So the administration is respectfully requesting an ordinance for the mayor to enter into the easement and right-of-way agreement with the Ohio Power Company. And as part of this, we are asking for waiver and emergency so this work can take place and keep us on schedule.
Thank you, Director. Any discussion of this item? Very broadly speaking, who records the easements?
It depends. So in this particular instance, I believe that we recorded the access easement and that we would likely record this one. I know that you guys passed one for Columbia Gas for Lower McCorkle. I believe that we're recording that particular easement on behalf of Columbia Gas. So it depends. We work with whoever's doing the filing.
Okay, just out of curiosity. All right. Well, seeing nothing further for this item, with waiver and emergency requested, regular item next week, or regular agenda next week then. All right. Thank you, sir. All right, next up, we have items from the city attorney.
Thank you. So this item is for a settlement with Discover Card. So Discover Card Merchant Services had been allegedly mischaracterizing certain credit cards as business credit cards rather than personal credit cards, and charging the end user, which would be us who is accepting the payments, an additional surcharge. And so this is a massive class action settlement that we are part of the settlement class due to the fact that the city accepts credit cards for various payments for fees, costs, and permits, things like that. So On behalf of the city, I am asking for permission if there is an appetite to participate in this. I have no idea what the actual monetary gain of this would be. It is likely to be pretty minimal, given the extent of the class that's being affected, but it's obviously something that we're entitled to if we want to participate.
All right, thank you, City Attorney. Any discussion of this item?
The level of effort that's required of you, City Attorney, to participate?
Although we received, I want to say, 20 to 25 different notices for each department within the city, I believe returning one is sufficient on behalf of all departments. And so the level of effort is simply filling out one form and submitting it back. So very minimal effort.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no further discussion of this, on for consent next week. All right. Thank you very much, City Attorney. Next up, we have items from council office. We have one item here just to get some general council feedback on the January 6, 2026 organizational meeting time. Since that is a Friday, I will turn things over to President Bowers for this
Yeah.
item.
Thank you very much. So by charter, we're obligated to hold our organizational meeting on January 2nd, unless that falls on a Sunday. And in this coming year, in 2026, it does fall on a Friday. We do not need to meet at 7 p.m., and I think that there's an appetite not to meet at 7 p.m. on Friday night. So I would submit that I would recommend either an 8 a.m., a noon, or a 4 p.m. meeting time, if that, whatever works the best for everyone. And I would imagine that those times would be all right with the administration. The 8 a.m. might be difficult on the 2nd. Okay. So noon or 4?
No.
Yeah. I mean, the partying happens on the 31st. The first.
Games are on the first, so.
All right.
Is there just, on that topic, is there any concern about, well, maybe most of us would have the flexibility to leave work early. Does anybody not have the ability to leave work early? That's where my mind is immediately going. I'm not proposing 7, but noon might be tough for some folks.
I can take a lunch, and I'm working from home that day, so I can take a lunch and certainly hold the organization, participate at noon.
I will be in office for our busy season. Oh, I'm sorry.
We might have a bit of a wrinkle. I was just
Oh.
informed Mayor's Court is in here all day on the 2nd.
Yeah. I think 4 p.m.
But
would
4 p.m. I would think
be
should work.
Okay. But I think noon would be hard because we'd be running court from
4 or 5.
8 until 3.
I can make 4 or 5 work. So.
Does 4 o'clock work? All right.
Man, Happy New Year, come to court. Jeez.
Do we need to identify any OSU games? That's something that we've always worked around before, too. Do we need to make sure that?
I don't think we know yet.
We don't know yet. All right, so tentatively 4 p.m. unless it conflicts with a Buckeyes game. All right. Of course.
Priorities.
All right.
Any further discussion on that item?
No.
All right, seeing none, we will adjourn Committee of the Whole, and I will turn things over to Chairman Renner for Finance.
What?
Yeah, we're good.
I'm waiting.
It didn't pop up on mine. I knew we had it, but
I
it's
don't
not
feel
a line
the
item.
air like completely blowing down my back tonight, so
There's no fighting.
it's nice.
All right, want to go ahead and call to order our Finance Committee meeting on Monday, November 10th. Brenda, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, council members. This budget process was designed through meetings with council leadership and the administration throughout 2025. Our shared goal was to provide transparent information to residents and comprehensive information for informed decision-making. Working with Chair Renner, the request was we present 26 priorities for each department. These priorities are contained in the budget book that was delivered on October 31st. The design of this process is to reduce last-minute budget additions or removals for the finance team the week prior to second reading and vote. We encourage your feedback about staffing requests and operations this evening for the departments on the agenda and moving forward for the rest of the month. This evening, we'll hear from the leaders of the following departments on priorities that are funded in the 2026 budget request: the Mayor's Office, Marketing and Communication, Economic Development, Human Resources, Finance, Information Technology, and Mayor's Court. After the department presentations, we will answer the previously provided questions and any additional questions that remain. Again, the goal of presenting the budget in this manner was to allow for additional review and time to ask questions. If there are items of priority that council has opinions or would like further clarification, we would love to have your feedback for these departments this evening. And with that, we will start with the Mayor's Office. Mayor Jadwin will discuss the 2026 priorities for the Mayor's Office.
Thank you, Director Vollmer. So up on the screen right now, you see a list of the 2026 priorities, a summary of those. Those are also recounted within the budget book, as well as the 2025 accomplishments that are indicated under the Mayor's Office. I think the biggest lift that we'll have in 2026 is the very first one, which is the transition of city services and employees to the new Civic Center, which is projected to be late February, March of 2026. That necessitates the coordination of the move itself. First of all, how do we end one day here at 200 South Hamilton and start the next day at 825 Tech Center Drive without the disruption of services here? Everything from our City Hall operations to our police operations. So simply the coordination of the move itself is a heavy lift that we already are working on and planning on. However, it's the preparation for those moves. We're moving into a new building, so all the new policies that need to be put into place, evacuation plans, procedures, building policies, the badge and access levels, how all those things will work, updating emergency action plans. We also, as council, you are aware, because we've been through that building, but the move to a more cohesive, efficient customer service desk. So as our residents walk into that building for service. Right now, for as limited as our hallway is, every day we encounter people who walk in and they don't know where to go. If they want to pay a bill, if they want to go to planning, it's very confusing to them. In the new space, they will be able to walk in. There will be one customer service desk, whether they want to pay a water bill, have a question about their trash pickup, want to rent a parks facility, submit plans, everything will be at one customer service desk. So making sure that our customer service folks are cross-trained in all of those functions is something that we're working on and will continue to be preparing for. Then we have the senior center operations that will be moving over there, which necessitates developing building policies for them as well, rental agreements for the new multipurpose room that will be part of that new building, the badge and access, and educating our members on how they utilize that space and so that they are prepared when they move over there from day one. And then, of course, our police operations, which we'll be here for another hour if we talk about everything involved in those moves. So that is a huge lift for my office. And when I say my office, I mean the executive team and myself, Director Schultz, Vollmer, Weibensinger, and myself, coordinating with all of the departments and making those plans. Beginning in January 2026, we'll also have the kickoff of the Gahanna strategic plan, which was adopted by council a week ago. I know Miranda, I believe, has some questions. She's going to speak a little bit further about that once we get through the priorities. However, one of the goals that we have, and one of the, I'm going to say demands, really, that plan imposes upon us is the mission, vision, values that we must communicate to our employees. So it's not only educating and informing them on those mission, vision, values, but building that cohesion around them. Obviously, our staff was very much involved in the Gahanna strategic plan development through all of the engagement processes that we had. However, now that it's been adopted, making sure that they are having those mission, vision, values at the forefront, and that we are building that team culture so that we are one team, one success will be, again, a focus for us. And I know our HR team may speak a little bit to that as well. We have foster and grow citizen engagement through the continuation of the Gahanna Citizens Academy program. This next year, we will be the third session that we've had of that program. The first two sessions have been extremely positive. I actually think we have a couple of members, graduate members of that program, sitting in our audience tonight. But that program really has been wonderful for creating engaged citizenry, which in turn creates more active and informed citizens. It builds understanding and engagement with our citizens, builds relationships that we have, and it also promotes transparency to give our residents that behind-the-scenes look of how our local government operates, so that when they come in here and they see these conversations happening, they have a better understanding of everything that took place before we ever even got here and got to this point. So we'll be continuing that program in the new year as well. Next, we have improved the city's emergency management function by developing a continuity of operations plan, I call it COOP, for all divisions within the city, which really will ensure that the city is set up for success in the event of a disruption to city operations, to not only ensure that employees get paid, as we're seeing right now on a federal level, but we don't want that to happen here, but also ensure that we are in a position to continue the delivery of services to our residents. So that plan is critical to those functions and is something that will be a focus for us in 2026 as well. Obviously, we have the continuation of the community grant program that has been very successful, and again, just recently even being able to utilize that program to address the food insecurity needs here within the community. And then finally, continue to enhance the risk and safety program. Melissa Jackson has been doing a phenomenal job in leading that program, which is focused on maintaining our multi-year safety training program, including CPR, first aid, AEDs. Having those within the new building will all be important for folks to not only know where they are, but how to utilize those. Enhancing safety in our work areas by completing safety work area audits, reviewing our safety data sheets that must be submitted, conducting chemical audits, and conduct and update written job hazard analysis by position, all of which are required by federal and state laws. Our continued participation with CORMA to extend access to resources and training opportunities, and maintaining CORMA software for tracking our city assets. And then finally, maintaining property damage claims to ensure an efficient process and maximize our return to the city. So those are the focus priorities for us. Those are not all of them, but again, those are the ones that are likely to take a great deal of attention through 2026. Happy to answer, well, we're going to answer questions later, right? Never mind.
Next up, we have Communications Manager Dan Perlman to discuss the priorities for marketing and communications.
Hello. I'll walk through the priorities, which you see on your screen, and my computer just went to sleep, so I too will be reading them off the screen up here. The first one is to continue to build upon our established communication methods, so city newsletters like the one you probably received in your inbox on Friday, and the one that you'll be getting with your water bill. Uniquely Gahanna, our 12 social media websites, gahanna.gov, the Our Gahanna podcast, email alerts, text alerts, just so we can grow engagement with citizens, something that I think is something we are constantly working on and always looking at better ways to do. We are going to proactively work to identify new opportunities to communicate and engage with residents, businesses, and stakeholders. We will develop a communication and marketing strategy for the new Gahanna Civic Center, introducing residents, stakeholders, and customers to the facility. And we will provide and enhance marketing support to city departments, something we are already doing, but we'll continue to do into the new year. Lastly, we'll build citywide brand consistency and renew our focus on marketing development opportunities, something I know Jeff and I have already begun discussing and will continue to do so in the new year.
We practiced earlier, but Director Godke must have got stuck back there.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening, members of council. Thank you for the opportunity to share Economic Development Department's priorities for 2026. Our overall goals for next year can be separated into three main categories. First, most importantly, we will begin to implement economic development strategy as identified in the Our Gahanna plan, which will continue to make Gahanna a community of choice for businesses and residents. To do that, we must understand the industries that drive our economy, identify the needs of local businesses, and ensure workforce, housing supply, and available property align with those needs. Secondly, we will continue to meet the needs of existing businesses through their expected white glove level of service. And third, most urgently, we must begin to manage the construction of the private mixed-use development at Creekside. So that slide is arranged in our priority order, and then I'll describe them here. First, managing Creekside construction. Since construction won't begin for some time, we have the opportunity to marshal our resources and formulate a plan that will focus on maintaining vibrancy and foot traffic to drive people to existing businesses and offer clear communication with stakeholders regarding building access, parking access, availability, traffic impacts, et cetera. We know this work is vital for Creekside business success, and we want to keep it an active and welcoming destination during construction. Second focus is business development and marketing. We want to continue to support and promote both new and existing business in Gahanna. Next year, we want to gain important insight through business advisory groups, refresh our small business assistance handbook, continue to market available commercial real estate properties, launch a new economic development newsletter to share business stories and resources, and continue building strong partnerships with business development organizations like the Gahanna Area Chamber of Commerce, Central Ohio African American Chamber of Commerce, local Small Business Development Center, Jobs Ohio, and the Ohio Department of Development, and several more. These efforts are about keeping businesses connected, supported, and aware of resources to continue to grow in Gahanna. Finally, the third area of focus is alignment of strategy and tactics. That is to say, we must ensure our business programs and resources match what our business community actually needs. In 2026, we'll be conducting several important studies and updates. First, an economic sector and gap analysis to identify the economic drivers and sector growth opportunities. Second, a workforce demand study to understand local job needs and align them with training programs and partners. Third, an updated housing demand study to ensure we have the appropriate housing mix for residents and workers. Also, a land development playbook that outlines priority development areas and strategies for optimizing land use. An updated business retention and expansion strategy tied to our key industry sectors and driven by data and local business feedback. Finally, a retail leakage update to better understand shopping and dining trends, which will help us to understand how to strengthen our local small business economy. To set your expectations a little, it is unlikely that we will conclude all of those in 2026 because they sort of build on each other, but understanding them kind of as a package and the sequence of which they have to occur is helpful, so I thought I'd mention them all here. Together, these efforts will give us a data-driven foundation for decisions, helping us to target our time and resources where they'll make the most impact. All of this work has one purpose: to ensure Gahanna remains a community of choice for businesses and residents alike. By staying informed, using our resources efficiently, and aligning our efforts with real data, we'll strengthen Gahanna's economy, quality of life, and build resilience for the long term. Thank you, Council, for continued support and partnership. Economic Development Department is excited for what's ahead in 2026 and beyond. Thank you.
Next up, we have HR Manager Ben Nolan.
Well, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I'm pleased to share several initiatives that reflect our continued investment in employees, the people who make our city's work possible every day. These initiatives focus on growth, well-being, communication, and recognition, all aimed at building a stronger and more connected city workforce. Our first initiative is the citywide training and development program. This program establishes a consistent framework for learning across all departments, helping employees strengthen technical skills and leadership abilities. It supports career advancement while promoting service excellence and succession planning throughout the city. Next is the Employee Health Benefits and Wellness Program. This initiative expands access to health and wellness resources, emphasizing preventative care and mental health support. Our goal is to continue building a culture where employees feel valued, balanced, and supported. both inside and outside of the workplace. The onboarding program and employee academy will transform how we welcome and train new staff. Through structured orientation, mentorship, and continued learning opportunities, every employee will begin with a clear understanding of our mission, culture, and expectations. The Employee Academy will also serve as a long-term hub for professional growth and engagement. A major milestone ahead is the transition of our team to the new Civic Center. This move represents an important step towards greater collaboration, accessibility, and efficiency. Careful planning will ensure that the transition is seamless, supporting employees in maintaining high-quality public service during the change. To strengthen engagement, we are developing a new internal brand to unify and modernize employee communications. This effort will provide a more consistent voice and visual identity across all channels, helping staff stay informed, connected, and aligned with the city's shared goals. Finally, we are introducing an enhanced employee recognition program to celebrate exceptional service and teamwork. This program will ensure that recognition is visible, equitable, and aligned with our organizational values, honoring the individuals and departments who truly make a difference. Together, these initiatives represent a comprehensive effort to invest in our people, enhancing their experience, supporting their growth, and strengthening the city as a whole. By prioritizing training, wellness, communication, and recognition, we are continuing a city that serves our community with excellence, pride, and purpose. Thank you.
Oh, you are not the HR. The finance manager, April Kincaid, is joined here at the table with me today as Director Burry is out on a medical leave.
Thank you, Council. As we look ahead to 2026, our focus remains strengthening the city's financial foundation and improving transparency, accountability, and efficiency across all operations. First, we'll continue to ensure our financial stability by optimizing our revenue streams, strengthening our budgetary controls, and implementing strategic fiscal policies. These efforts do help us remain resilient in the face of economic changes and ensure long-term sustainability. Second, we do plan to issue a popular annual financial report, or a PAFR, to share the city's financial position with residents in a clear and accessible way, which builds public trust and understanding of how we manage taxpayer resources. Third, we'll enhance our accounting systems by entering comprehensive capital asset information and implementing an ACFR builder, which helps to streamline our annual reporting process and improves our accuracy. Finally, we'll collaborate with the mayor and executive team to produce quarterly reports on the capital improvement plan, and that just ensures that the major projects are closely monitored and remain aligned with city strategic plans. Together, these priorities will strengthen our financial management, enhance transparency, promote greater efficiency, and support the city's long-term success.
Director Carter from Information Technology is here to share her priorities for next year.
Good evening. As we look ahead this coming year, our technology priorities remain centered on reliability, security, and service, ensuring our systems not only support daily operations but strengthen how we serve the community. One of our main initiatives will be the technology design and implementation for the new Civic Center. This includes network infrastructure, security, communications, and public safety systems, all working together seamlessly from day one. Our goal is a connected, efficient environment that's ready for the future. We're also implementing a formal cybersecurity program in compliance with Ohio Revised Code 9.64. This framework focuses on training, vulnerability assessments, and continuous monitoring, a proactive way to keep city data and community information secure. Another focus is enhancing customer service through better technology. We're improving online tools, streamlining internal processes, and giving staff what they need to respond quickly and accurately to residents and businesses. We'll also launch a citywide Microsoft 365 training program to help staff make the most of Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, and Power BI, boosting collaboration, efficiency, and communication across departments. And finally, we'll expand our GIS and asset management systems to improve how we track infrastructure and plan for the future, using accurate data to make smarter, more informed decisions. Each of these efforts builds on one foundation: secure, reliable technology that makes city operations more efficient and enhances the experience for both staff and residents. Thank you for your continued partnership and support as we move these initiatives forward.
And last but not least, the Director of Court Services, Amanda Parker.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. Our focus for the coming year is on continuing to strengthen the operations of the Mayor's Court as we adapt to new systems in a new location. Our top priority is to facilitate a smooth transition to our new court offices at 825 Tech Center Drive. This move is more than just a change in address. It's an opportunity to enhance the customer experience and modernize how we deliver court services. In anticipation, we've worked throughout the past year to significantly reduce the amount of paper case files, dockets, and reports needing moved and kept on site. We're planning the transition carefully to make sure residents, attorneys, and officers experience little to no disruption. Every detail, from technology setup to front counter operations, is being coordinated with a focus on maximizing efficiency while maintaining exemplary customer service. We'll also continue our collaboration with the New Albany Mayor's Court. That partnership has been a great example of how neighboring courts can work together to share best practices. We can find economies of scale and solve common challenges. We'll keep building on that relationship to find new efficiencies across both communities. A final priority is our collaboration with the Gahanna Division of Police to assist with their implementation of their new RMS system. Our court software will be working closely with Central Square to ensure a smooth transition that continues to allow citations to automatically flow from the police department's RMS to our court database. Continued use of the e-citations and ticket import means less manual entry, faster case processing, and fewer errors, saving time for both departments. These projects, the move, the collaboration, and the technology upgrades all tie back to one goal: making court operations more efficient, more accessible, and more responsive to the needs of our residents and partners. Thanks.
So next, we would like to go over the submitted questions that Chair Renner sent us. So if it's okay with you, I'll read the question. They're just highlighted on the slide here. So the first question was about implementation of our Gahanna, including the funding, who's been identified as a consultant, and how we'll be implementing. We have identified the consultant as planning next to continue their efforts with the city to continue to help with the implementation of our Gahanna. The scope of work that's been provided includes a 90-day strategic plan launch. They will also assist in coordinating and facilitating meetings, creating an online presence and maintaining ourgahanna.com, and then to help plan, organize, and promote annual updates. In addition, they'll assist by educating key city leaders, including elected officials, on the implementation plan, and to discuss year one priorities, assisting with updating city templates so that they are tied back to our Gahanna, and then developing a one-year work program to address the priority action agenda.
Can we pause for a second?
Yep.
Does that answer the question?
Can you just go over that list one more time?
Sure. Yep. The 4 tenets of the scope of work would be a 90-day strategic plan launch, to coordinate and facilitate meetings, continue the online presence that we have, and then to plan, organize, and promote annual updates to the community.
What would the cadence be of those community meetings or community events?
Right now, it's planned, so through the 90-day strategic plan launch, those decisions are made during that. Their recommendation is an annual update in some format of our choosing.
Okay, thank you.
The next question we received was on the business continuity plan and what that is. So that's the same as the COOP that we talked about earlier. So a business continuity plan is a plan that outlines how the city will continue necessary and essential functions when normal operations are disrupted or impossible. So that plan will identify critical business functions, processes, and resources required to sustain operations at a minimal level. So an example would be if we suffer a cybersecurity attack, we would pull this plan out and it would tell us in detail how to handle that cybersecurity attack to ensure that the finance items that need to continue, AP running, payroll processing continue in the event of a cybersecurity attack. That's just one example, but there are many examples. And then that plan would also include the testing, maintenance, and training across the city of the key stakeholders for that plan.
And we don't have one of those today. We don't have a continuity plan today.
We have many plans that would fall into the continuity plan, but we do not have one singular,
Like a comprehensive.
this is happening, yes.
Got it, okay.
The next questions we received were on the mayor's advisory panel, and Mayor Jadwin will be providing information on that panel.
Do you have the question, or? I do generally.
Yeah.
To summarize the question, it was wanting to understand more about the panel, its makeup, how it's been working, et cetera. So just to clarify, we had our first business advisory panel meeting in September of this year. By way of background, Director Hammonds, when he was here last year, and I were working on the framework of what the business advisory panel would look like prior to his departure. And then when Director Gotke joined my team in May of this year, one of the first conversations that we had was about the business advisory panel, and I was very excited to get his insights on how he thought they should look and how they should work, how to best utilize those panels. I knew coming in with Director Gotke joining our team that he had already had extensive experience in those types of panels and great success in utilizing them and helping to create those business ties. The goal in establishing a mayor's business advisory panel really is to build relationships and communications with our businesses. We are always focused on building and strengthening our relationships with our residents so that we could understand how to better serve them. The same can and should be said of our business community as well, because ensuring that they have a supportive and thriving environment and ensuring that they're successful in that regard in turn translates to success for Gahanna and for our residents. Business advisory groups generally are overall business and economic intelligence gathering opportunities. We get information from our businesses in a variety of ways, one-on-one meetings, regional data, One Columbus, Jobs Ohio, informal conversations, economic development events, focus group conversations, our partner organizations such as the Chamber, Visit Gahanna. The business advisory panel is one more way to get information from our business community. What they are we convene them in business-specific groups regularly to get firsthand input from them. So we're hearing directly from the people who are working and doing business here in the city, understanding from them what it's like for them to do business in the city and with the city, to hear what their existing needs and challenges are, and understanding regional trends so that we can then anticipate what their longer-term needs are going to be. Taking the information from the panels allows us to understand how the city can help, also identify industry-wide trends and conditions that they're seeing in order to build resilience, and then identify gaps that we can help to fill, whether that's connecting them with an existing resource that another organization already has, or exploring potential programs that we can create to help support those business communities. As I mentioned, we had one in September. That was our first one. We intentionally chose to take a sector-specific approach to that event. So we partnered with a Gahanna-based financial institution that is focused on small business financing products. And we picked an industry sector that is very high in demand here within our Gahanna community, but also has a higher amount per capita in Gahanna than in our peer communities. So we met with I think it was more than a dozen business owners, had a wonderful morning of great honest conversation, them exchanging ideas and questions amongst themselves as well. And as we move forward with the implementation of the economic development strategy, as you heard Director Gotke mention a little bit ago, having those conversations will help to inform us as to the priorities that need to rise to the top. So what are our businesses telling us? What are their challenges, and what do we need to focus on? And what we heard very clearly from that first session was workforce needs. And identifying opportunities to work with our schools and create internships and apprenticeships and carrying those forward into the new year and looking for those opportunities. So going into 2026, we anticipate holding those on a bi-monthly or quarterly basis as scheduling permits and continuing to build those conversations.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah. So is this the panel also, I'm referring to the budget book, advising on things like transportation, housing, sustainability? I'm of course particularly interested in like the D&I piece and like what that means, knowing what's happening nationally. So is this the same, that business advisory panel is the same panel that's advising on these areas as well?
Sure, and that'll be something as it continues to evolve, how we approach those. For the first one that we did, again, it was very sector specific. Okay. So the way the conversation evolved was to provide very general, high-level questions and then let them drive the conversation around what they were seeing and soliciting information from them and then allowing that conversation to unfold that way. So as we continue these into the new year and we hear from our businesses, we might delve further into some topics that we're hearing more from. We have heard transportation being one in the past. That was not, some of those things you just mentioned now were not things that came up in that first conversation, but again, as the conversations continue to evolve in the new year, if we need to prod on certain topics, we will do that. But the goal would really be allowed to let the businesses tell us and again, letting that conversation evolve organically.
Thank you for the clarification.
I do have a question. So when it says in the budget book, the mayor's advisory panel, that's sort of like an umbrella term, or is it leaving out the word business advisory panel? I'm trying to understand.
Sure, and I think when I originally crafted it, I called it Mayor's Advisory Panel, and working with Director Gaki, we changed it to Mayor's Business Advisory Panel, because that really is what it is intended to be. It was intended to be that outreach to our business community to strengthen those ties and create that communication mechanism between our business community and the city, so that they can look to us as a resource. And again, we can help identify things. You know, is it a code provision that needs to be changed? What's getting in their way? How can we help with transportation and COTW? Are they seeing issues with, to Councilwoman Jones's earlier question, you know, are they seeing, my people can't find a place to live? Like, what is on their minds that they're seeing? Right now, it's just simply finding workers. And that was what we heard loud and clear in the first sector that we had.
Thank you. Okay.
The next question is on the community grant program, and it's asking about the different accounts that it's in. So last year when the finance team brought forth the changes before the second reading, the chart was titled incorrectly, so it was a clerical error. So it's always been funded out of the same account. The chart that was provided last year was just labeled wrong. So the $100,000 allocated for the community grant program is maintained under the one of the divisions in finance and contract services.
Understood. Questions?
Is there a reason that we put it under contract services? I mean, I'm just asking category-wise there versus
Yeah, so
somewhere
the
else.
city has three main funds for governmental accounting: salary and benefits, contract services, and materials and supplies. And so then those are broken further apart. So at the highest level, it's under contract services.
Okay, thank you.
The next, oh, sorry. Are there any other questions?
Nope.
The next question was on the Gahanna podcast, the launch, when it was published, where, how it was communicated, and the metrics. And Mayor Jadwin will answer this question.
Sure. Well, it has not launched yet. We're just getting ready to launch it. Given our work on the Gahanna strategic plan over the past year, we intentionally waited until the adoption of the strategic plan to align the name and the focus of the podcast. We have recorded 2 episodes already. We teased the upcoming podcast in last week's newsletter that went out. Right now, we're waiting on a timeline for the release from the producer, and then we will do active promotion on social media and the website to push that out. It will be available on all major streaming podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, et cetera. So the first conversation is on Creekside. The second one is with our community liaison officers talking about mental health and the resources they offer within the community. The goal of the podcast is to not only share information with our residents, but to shine a light on the people and the places and the things that make our Gahanna a special place. But you know, as we have topics identified, we'll be looking to our community to tell us too things they want to hear about and learn more about. And even though we have topics identified, we'll be willing to flex as to what we're hearing from the community.
Yes, ma'am.
What will the, did you say how regularly these are going to be released? Or what the plan is for that?
Right now, we're hoping every other month. We were hoping for 6 throughout the year. We were trying to get, we had 2 in that we wanted to get done just because we have a mental health event coming up in December. So we wanted to get that one out in time for that event.
Okay, thank you.
The next question was the process for Police Sergeant Assessment Center and any associated costs. So the Police Sergeant Assessment Center is outlined in Article 14 of the FOP contract. It requires that we do an assessment center, which is a job-related, skills-based assessment, and it has to be administered by the Ohio Association for Chiefs of Police, or OACP. So the city contracts with OACP to do that assessment center. Then there is the second part of the promotional process is an oral board. The contract requires that that is done by an independent consultant, and then that the overall eligible list score is also, the calculation is done by an independent consultant. This is a civil service process, governed under civil service rules and the collective bargaining agreement. The overall cost is roughly $14,000 to administer an assessment center. We do have a lieutenant's assessment center to promote due to the vacancy created by the promotion of Deputy Chief Moffitt occurring this year. So we intend to have that wrapped up by the end of the year to fill Deputy Chief Moffitt's vacancies. So then the trickle-down effect goes all the way down. So then we need a sergeant to replace Deputy Chief Moffitt, and then eventually a police officer is the full fallout from the promotion of DC Moffitt.
Any questions, comments?
Just a quick follow-up. Mr. Weaver, Chairman, thank you. So it is the cost is on essentially a per vacancy basis.
Not necessarily, no. So because it's a civil service process, we typically only run a promotional process test when we know there's going to be a vacancy. So in larger agencies like the City of Columbus, they do it annually. We do annual civil service testing for parks maintenance worker and service maintenance worker, but because of the cost and a level of work for the HR team and the police department, we typically only budget for it and run them when we know there's going to be a vacancy. So last year we ran a test and that list expired in September of this year, and so we need to do another one since Deputy Chief Moffitt was promoted.
That's helpful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next set of questions submitted were surrounding, we kind of combined some of them because some of them are interrelated to one another. So they are from the finance section. So Finance Manager April Kincaid is going to go over these. So there were questions on increase in contract services lines. So they're outlined on this slide, and this is the order she's going to go in. And then there were questions on the finance department, increases in salary and benefits, and contract services increase and decrease. And so April's going to explain those related finance questions all together. There were about 4 of them submitted. So just so we know what they were, the finance questions were what's contributing to the increase in contract services of about $176,000, what's contributing to about a $686,000 decrease, and then the salary and benefits.
Thank you. So
first question was regarding the HR line that had about an $85,000 increase. That is pointing at the professional development line. This is the professional development for the entire city, so that includes citywide development and individual departments. Sorry, is that better? Okay, sorry, I apologize.
No, you're good.
That is the $85,000 number that was pointed out, and that is all professional development. Do you want me to pause as I explain, in case there's a follow-up?
Yeah, I think we need to. Any questions? Go.
Okay. So the next questions surrounded several line items that we're talking about increases in contract services. So they kind of picked from different portions of the book, and so in different areas, things are reported slightly differently. What I mean by that is that sometimes we are rolling up the numbers to be just contract services, and that would encompass both the finance division and the admin and ops division. So when we're asked about a $176,000 increase in contract services, that's talking about an overall increase among both of those divisions in a rolled up number for all of contract services. So while there's some lines that have decreased some, there are some initiatives that are driving those increases. I'm going to address, there's also another question about the $275,000 increase in contract services. That's a little bit later in the list. So that is calling out one particular line item. So that line item encompasses the strategic plan, implementation, the business continuity plan, and then a facilities assessment related line item. So that calls out one particular line. That number is also included in the earlier reference 176. It's just included as an aggregate number.
That's the 275,000 on the finance, page 178? Is that the one you're referencing?
Yes.
Okay, and that's our Gahanna.
It is a combination of the Gahanna implementation, the business continuity plan that was spoken of, and also like a facilities assessment for transitioning.
Okay.
There was an additional question about a line item on page 178 that was asking about a contribution of 129, about 130,000 increase in contract services. This particular line item calls out contract services that are related to revenue items. So anytime we have a planned increase for revenue items, we're going to have a planned increase for expenses related. For instance, Rita collects our taxes. We also have to pay fees related to them collecting our taxes. So as we are increasing a percentage of expected revenue, our appropriations are also going to go up, our expenditures.
Go ahead.
Addressing the salary and benefits increase that's called out for us. As you may recall, in 2024, Director Burry recommended placing citywide initiatives and funding for DAS and senior directors under a new finance, admin, and ops division. That was just to improve citywide spending, align with best practices, and just kind of enhance efficiency overall. So in the budget book, these funds appear in the finance, admin, and ops division and are explained also in the narrative on the mayor's office. So that's kind of where the overlap is a little bit. So these budgeted salary increases are just the standard budgetary salary adjustments for all the represented employees in the DAS and finance divisions with no additional positions included.
questions or comments?
And then there was one other question about a decrease in transfers. And that decrease in transfers, it was a one-time transfer. This was money that was returned from the COHCC, which was our insurance consortium. And it was transferred out to be reserved for the employee health and wellness initiatives. And that was just a one-time transfer.
Any questions, comments?
And there was one more question about the Parks and Rec division.
Let's just keep talking.
Okay, I'll just talk louder. There was a question about what's contributing to the increase in contract services for the Parks and Rec division there. That is specific to a landscaping contract that was just reclassed from the service department to Parks and Rec. So you could see the corresponding decrease from service and increase here. It was just a movement of where the funds are coming from.
And those were all the questions that were submitted on Friday.
Thank you very much.
Just one super quick follow-up. I know that it has been a priority of HR to ensure professional development and opportunities for employees to grow and to achieve, new education standards, et cetera. Do you anticipate that we will get to a point in the near future where we should just be seeing inflationary kind of increases, or do you anticipate that we still need to make big jumps in professional development budgeting?
Yeah, so as we continue, there's specific initiatives in the strategic plan that are surrounding employee professional development. And so as we are working on also doing professional development plans, starting at director and supervisor level and then extending it out to city employees. That initiative will take about 2 years to complete. And so once that initiative is complete, then we'll have a good idea of what the baseline for the professional development budget should be recommended to go forward. We do, about in August of each year, I do request of every director to send me all of the professional development training that their staff is going to take for the year. So there's a template that they have to follow. It's not just a number pulled out in the air. They look at national conferences, local conferences. We have a very procedure-heavy professional development request form that folks have to go through, that every single one comes across my desk as well as finance desk, to ensure that employees are spending our tax dollars financially responsible and going, if, like, for instance, if a conference is, actually just did this to our friends in finance recently, there was a conference they wanted to go in Chicago, but it was also available here in Columbus next year. So we're opting to go to the one in Columbus next year instead of paying for hotel and per diem and travel to another city. So we do look at those as well.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you. All right. I'm looking at the calendar, and Miranda, so it says that the next topic is going to be questions on operations, and then the following week is questions on operations.
Yep, it's next, the 17th is Parks and Recreation and Planning, and then the 24th is Public Service and Engineering.
Parks and, sorry.
Parks and Rec and Planning for Monday, the 17th.
Okay. All right, so then I would ask my colleagues to actually, by Thursday, November 13th, to review Parks and Planning and get me any questions.
When did, I guess I'm looking at an old schedule, so when does engineering go? Oh, hi.
The 20,
that's
the
right.
24th.
Yeah.
I sent out a change, I think the week we did the budget, or shortly thereafter, or with the budget book, I sent out an update We had some directors with pre-planned vacations, so we needed to divide operations up so that they're available.
That's fine. I'll update my paper calendar.
Where does council office go?
24th.
Council of the City Attorney's Office go the 24th?
Okay,
Yeah.
they didn't move.
On the 24th?
I don't know, I'm asking.
Yes, that's what,
24th.
yeah. We had shared that, I think, at a prior finance committee meeting. Law department as well. Okay.
Correct, the 24th.
Can you send us this again?
Sure.
Whomever, please?
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, any overall questions about our process? Seeing none, I'm asking, or actually, I don't have to ask, we're just adjourned.